Hi, boys and girls. Glad you came to school today. Gosh, being stuck at home because of the virus, I don't get to dance anymore. So today, I'm going to read you a book about dancing. It's called Danza, and it's written by Duncan Tonatiuh, hard to pronounce his name, and it's the winner of the Buddha Belpre Medal and the Robert E. Seibert Medal. So it says here at the bottom, Amalia Hernandez and the El Ballet Folclórico de Mexico. So these dances you see in this picture, it's a style of dance called folklorico. You see it a lot in New Mexico too, but it's from Mexico. And what I found interesting was when I take the jacket cover off the book, watch, it has a different picture on the back side. Look. So now here's the front of the book. But what's interesting is it shows people dancing other styles. It looks like a French. I think that's Turkey, and that's Egyptian. I think that's France. This might be Thailand. I'm not sure, but that's definitely Egypt because there's the Sphinx is called in the back. And then here on the other side, it shows she's definitely, these guys are folklorical dance. All three of them are. This is a style called the dance of the deer. It's called. Um, yeah. So this is the book. Let's get started. Oh, one more thing I got to read you. On the cover is a little story here I got to read you. Okay, I'm going to read you this part right here. It says, as a child, Amalia Hernandez saw a pair of dancers in the town square. The way they stomped and swayed to the rhythm of the music inspired her. She knew one day she would become a dancer. Amalia studied ballet and modern dance under the direction of skilled teachers who had performed in world-renowned dance companies. But she never forgot the folk dance she had seen years earlier. She began traveling through the Mexican countryside, witnessing the dancers of many regions. Regions are like areas, or even you could say states. And she used her knowledge of ballet and modern dance to adapt the traditional dances to the stage. She founded her own dance company, a group that became known as El Ballet Folclórico de Mexico. Using his signature illustration style, inspired by the ancient art of the Mixtecs, award-winning author and illustrator Duncan Tonatiuh tells the story of Amalia Hernandez and the formation of the folkloric ballet, one of the most famous and successful dance companies in the world. Wow, this is a true story. And there's a show, a, a dancer called El Verado, and that means the deer, El Verado. And so there you have it. And now, look, this guy has written some other books too. All right, now without any further ado, let's get started. All right, here we go. And look at the inside cover. It's all dancing shoes and sombreros. Sombrero means hat in Spanish. And here's the title page. Now, do you see the skirts that the girls are wearing? They look like circles. They're actually called circle skirts sometimes, but they're made with enough material that they can be laid out flat into a circle as if the girl was standing in the center. And when she twirls, that skirt lifts up and it looks real pretty. So now I'll read the title. It says, Danza, Amalia Hernandez and the Ballet Folclórico de Mexico. All right, let's keep going. First page. Here's what it looks like. All right. It says here, Amalia Hernandez was born in Mexico City in 1917. That's a long time ago. Uh, wow. If it's 2020 minus 1917, that's over 100 years ago. And everyone assumed she would grow up to be a school teacher like her mother and her grandmother. Even Ami, as everyone called her, expected that. So her name's Amelia, but her nickname is Ami. Okay, but one afternoon, while her family was on vacation, Ami saw a pair of dancers in the town square. They stomped and swayed to the live music. The danzas that they performed had been danced by people of that area for generations. Ami was hooked. She made a decision. She was going to become a dancer herself. So here in the town square, wherever they're visiting, here's the musicians up here. Here are the dancers she saw, and here is she with her family, her mother, her father, her baby brother or sister, and there she is. There's a dog running through the picture, and this is the middle of a town somewhere, and she's watching these two dancers. All right, next page. All right, let's see what it says. It says here, Ami twirled in the living room and whirled in the kitchen. Amalia, scolded her father, a stern military man. But her mother encouraged Ami's interest in the arts, and one day her father gave in. He had a studio built in their home and hired the best dance teachers he could find. After school, Ami studied ballet with Madame Dambre, who had danced with the Paris Opera. She's French. And with Professor Zybin, who had danced with Pavlova's world-renowned Russian ballet. Ballet is big in Russia and France. Here's a picture of her father saying, "What's this girl doing dancing around the house all the time?" So he built her a dance studio to practice in. Here's what the dance studio looked like. It had bars that she could stretch her legs on. And these are the two famous dance teachers who came to teach her how to dance ballet style. He's Russian, she's French. So she's practicing. Remember, practice is how you get good at something. All right, next page. All right, it says here, Ami worked on her technique and made sure she always pointed her feet. She perfected the different structured positions and became an accomplished ballerina. All right, I got to show you this picture because these poses here, they have certain names written underneath them. And I'm going to read them to you, okay? This one over here is called the fifth position. You see that a lot in ballet. This one's called arabesque. This one's called the first position. See where her hands and feet? Her feet are turned outward. This one's called a pirouette. She's twirling on one toe. And this one is grand battlement. Almost looks like she's doing a martial arts kick of some time. But these are 5 ballet poses. So now next page, she's moving on. Now it's 1939. Remember, she was born in 1917. So she's in her 20s. It says 2 dancers from the United States visited Mexico City, where Ami lived. They performed a new style of dance called modern. Amalia was deeply impressed. The movements were expressive and they could be jarring, when compared with the delicate movements of ballet. Ballet is one of the original style dances that you see a lot. And here, people are doing a style called modern dance. This is ballet, this is modern. And this modern dance doesn't mean it's the kind of stuff you see on YouTube videos today. This is a whole style in itself. It's very beautiful, but different. So now she's like, whoa, these people are doing modern dance. I'm only trained in ballet. I think I'll learn how probably. All right, next pages. I have to peek to see if you can see it all. All right, let's see what it says. It says here, Ami met Waldine, one of the modern dancers, and began to study with her. She also continued practicing ballet. Ami was very talented and disciplined. In time, she became a dance teacher and choreographer. Choreographer means the person who creates the dance. Like, what do I do? Do I go left? Do I go right? Forward, back? So, like, I choreograph our merengue routine. All right. And choreographer herself. A choreographer is a person who creates dance steps and arranges them together to create new dance pieces. Okay, next page. In 1952, wow, let me see. Now she's in her 30s. After rehearsing for months, Ami and other dancers gave a performance. They presented many different dances, but the one the audience clapped for the most was a piece called Sones de Michoacán. Michoacán is a state in Mexico, just like New Mexico is a state in the United States. Anyway, she named the dance Sones de Michoacán. Ami was the choreographer, and the dance was similar to the regional danza that she had seen in the town square when she was a little girl. So she kind of created her own traditional dance similar to one. And there she is doing her thing. All right, let's see. But what's interesting is look at all the people down here watching. Okay, let's move on. Oh, wow. Here's what's going on now. See what it says. It says, Ami had an idea. She decided that she would create ballet based on the folkloric danzas from the different regions of Mexico. She was so excited that she formed her own company with 7 other dancers. Do you remember what regions are? Okay. Next page. Ami began to travel to villages all around the country to learn as much as she could about the area's traditional dancers. She read about the history of each place and talked with elders. When possible, she participated in danzas herself. She paid special attention to the steps, the music, and the outfits that people wore. Remember I told you guys we all had to wear black and white? Well, here's a good picture of her in some part of Mexico learning their style of dance. And look, there's a big iguana right there. There's a little chihuahua right there. And people, anyway. I don't know what she's holding. I'm not quite sure what that is. It kind of looks like a boomerang. But it might be a tool for harvesting crops, like a, sort of like a, I think that's what it is. I think it's like like a knife that you cut off the plants that you're trying to harvest, like corn or wheat. And I think that's what's going on in the picture. I'm not quite sure, but they are holding something in their hands, that red thing. I'm not sure what that is. I think it's a metal tool. All right, let's go over. So here's the next page. And of course, it's a big performance on a stage with both men and women dancing. Okay. Now it says here, after returning home, Ami would go to the dance studio. Remember the one her father built? The danzas y bailes she saw in the village were for ceremonial purposes. Ceremonial. That means like a special tradition or something you do um, uh, on special occasions, like celebrating a patron saint or hoping for a good harvest. Other times, the dances happened so people could have fun and meet new friends. Yeah, so I think that's what that tool is. However, the dance pieces Ami was creating were meant to be performances for audience to watch in a theater. Ami used her skills as a choreographer and her knowledge of both ballet and modern dance to make the pieces innovative and beautiful. She made sure the dancers wore dazzling costumes and that there was dramatic lighting and spectacular backdrops. Dramatic lighting means the light they put on the stage when people are performing, and spectacular backdrops is what's hanging behind the dancers when they dance in front of it. So take a look at this big performance. So she's making her mark in the dance world. Next page. Oh, it's getting to be more modern times. I see a television camera in the picture. Can you see the television camera in the picture? Let's read what it says. Audiences love the folkloric ballets, and Amalia's dance company quickly became very famous. In 1954, let's see, she's still in her 30s, but later 30s, they performed on the Función de Gala television show. They danced on the show every week for more than 60 weeks. Wow. They performed 60 weeks in a row. They had to perform on TV once a week. The company grew to include 20 dancers and then 50 dancers. Wow. I wonder if those old shows are still available to see. It says here, the company's repertoire. Repertoire is a word that has French origins, and it means your set or what you know or your library of dances in this case. What is your repertoire? Well, I can dance merengue and bachata and so forth. Anyway, so it says the company's repertoire. In other words, what kind of dances they can do, or stock of dances, so a list of dances, included ballets based on mestizo bailes. Mestizo means a class of people in Mexico, and of course, bailes means dances. So, mestizo dances, like the sones jarochos from Veracruz. Now, in Veracruz is a state in Mexico. It sits on the Gulf of Mexico with water, so they have a sea culture, they fish. It's very warm and humid there, so people like to wear white clothes, and they always wear like a red scarf or necktie and so forth. It's very warm and humid in Veracruz, so you always wear white because otherwise it gets too hot. And I guess and the style of dance there in Veracruz was called jarocho. So it says mestizo is the combination of Amerindian, European, and African traditions. In this ballet, musicians dressed in white played the harp and guitars as the dancers stomped on a tarima. Tarima is a piece of wood that makes loud noise. It's kind of like tap dancing. You have to have a hard surface so you can hear the taps. Well, that's what they did. They stomped hard. They wore wooden heels on their shoes and boots, and they would stomp down hard and make a percussion noise with their feet as if they were playing instruments with their feet. And so again, this is the tarima, is this uh, plank of wood they laid out. See, here's the regular stage back here, and then that's a plank of wood that they put out so they could stomp on it and make percussion noises with their feet, like tap dancing, only Mexican style. And that, ooh, now this is interesting. So these are two more styles of dancing, all part of folklorico. And this is the dance of the deer. If you notice, this guy has a deer, like a fake deer head on him. It says the company's repertoire also included ballets based on indigenous dances. So indigenous means native to the area. So Mexico had lots of Native Americans in it, believe it or not. So this one's called La Danza del Venado from the Yaqui in the Sonoran Desert. So this is my region of Mexico. My family, long, long time ago, came from Sonora, Mexico. And this was the dance of the venado. And this was a dance that celebrated the deer. Okay, and it's a very beautiful dance. And then here is the next one. It says, and los quetzales from the Nahuas and Totonaco people in the Valley of Mexico. So this is like Aztec. This is like Aztec Indian style. So this is like an Aztec style, and this is a northern Mexico style from Sonora. All right, interesting. Now, ooh, looks like we got some more Aztec stuff going, or maybe this is Inca, I'm not sure. We'll find out. All right, it says here, some of the company's ballets were not based on traditional dances, but were original pieces inspired by Mexico's pre-Columbian past. Ami wanted to celebrate the history of her country. She looked at the sculptures and art that ancient civilizations like the Aztecs and the Maya had created. She conceived dance steps for ballets like La Gran Tenochtitlan, based on that art. Let's see if I can pronounce this again. La Gran Tenochtitlan. That's an Aztec pronunciation. And here she saw these symbols on the Aztec runes on the pyramids in Mexico. Believe it or not, there are pyramids in Mexico from the Maya and from the Mayas. Anyway, so she went and created dances from those ancient artifacts. And moving on, she's moving up, more styles. All right, it says here, some ballets were inspired by more recent history and by music like the polka and waltz, which were popular with the wealthy in the 19th century, or by corridos, which were popular with the poor at the beginning of the 20th century. Ami would often dance as Juana Gallo, a fierce female soldier of the time. Wow, check this out. So here's sort of the snooty dances, the dances that the wealthy did, the waltz and the polka. And those styles of music came from Europe, the polka from Germany, the waltz too, come to think of it. And then here is a more regional style called corridos, which is more familiar to where we live in New Mexico, because there was a big revolution in Mexico, and the women had to fight alongside the men. And so they showed how fierce a woman could be. All right. Let's move on. Now, next page. Book's almost over. All right, it says here, The company became a great success, not only in Mexico, but abroad. Two, in 1959, the Mexican government asked it to represent Mexico in the Pan American Games. Those are kind of like the Olympics, but not as big. Uh, I think it might just be games. When I say games, yeah, they're sporting events, but only for, I think, North and South America. So all the countries in South America, Brazil, Chile, Argentina, many more, Colombia, uh, and all the countries of Mexico, United States, and Canada were in. That's the Pan American Games. Anyway, let's see. These games are similar to the Olympics, but only athletes from the Americas compete. It was a great honor to be part of such an important event. That year, Ami decided to call the company El Ballet Folclórico de México, Mexico's folkloric ballet. The company became truly international in 1961 when it won the first prize at the prestigious Festival of Nations in Paris, France. Famous ballets and important dance troupes from all over the world competed at the event. After the folkloric ballet won, it was invited to tour Europe. Later on, it visited Japan and Australia. The dancers even performed next to the Great Sphinx in Egypt. Can you see? She's all over the world. Oh, I think, yeah, all right, moving on. It says, all right, it says here, to be touring the world was exciting for Ami, but it was not simple to arrange. The company needed transportation for 50 or so dancers, musicians, and sound and lighting technicians, and more than 3 tons of costumes. Ami decided to stop dancing so she could focus on choreography and directing the company. She was now like a general, much like her military father, supervising all the different people involved in the folkloric ballet and making sure the shows came out perfectly. The company had so many engagements that Ami had to create 2 groups, one to travel around the world and one to offer performances in Mexico. So look at all the equipment, the instruments, the microphones, the costumes, the lighting. So it became a big business. There she is, I think, directing the production. All right. It says in 1968, Ami opened a dance school. Her brother, who was an architect, designed the building, which housed studios and classrooms. At the school, students would often learn folkloric dance and also ballet and modern dance. Often the dancers who studied at the school became professionals in Amalia's company. As the years passed, Ami continued teaching and supervising the folkloric ballet's rehearsals. She had become a school teacher after all, like her mother and grandmother. So here, I don't know. Oh, here she is now. Look, she's got gray hair now. Here she is. And there's all her students and dancers performing, and she's teaching them. How nice is that? You see what dancing can do? And here's another performers, looks sort of mariachi style. It says Amalia Hernandez passed away on November 5th, 2000. That was 20 years ago. Wow. But her legacy lives on. El Ballet Folclórico de México performs every Wednesday and Saturday at the Palacio de Bellas Artes, the Palace of Fine Arts in Mexico City. They have been doing so without interruption for more than 50 years. The company also continues to tour internationally. Wow. Today, there are thousands of Mexican folkloric dance groups, both professional and amateur, in Mexico and the United States. We have plenty of folklore dancers here in Albuquerque. Perhaps you've seen one perform at your school or in your neighborhood for Cinco de Mayo. Perhaps you've even dressed as a charro. That means charro is a Mexican cowboy. And danced el jarabe tapatío. That's a dance from Mexico. I know I have. Ami inspired generations of dancers to perform these dances. She made the folkloric dances of Mexico known around the world. And she encouraged people of Mexican origin to feel pride in their roots and in their traditional dancers. So there you go. Now I have to tell a story. When I was a boy, and my parents were both teachers, and I went to summer camp. We would all go to summer camp together with other students from my town in California, and they taught us folkloric dance. So I would dance like this. So some of the first ways I ever learned to dance was folkloric dancing when I was at summer camp when I was a boy. There's a long glossary. I won't go over all of them with you, but it looks like that. Yeah, because anyway, that's the end of the story. It was a great story. Let me see, where's the cover? That's what it was right there. That's the book I just read to you. Thank you so much for listening. Good luck with your work this week. If you get a chance, join NitroType on the Google Classroom Valenzuela's Dancers page. There's invitation to join NitroType. It's a typing program to train you to become a better typist. And what's cool about it is you get to race. It's sort of like a game. You get to race cars and you win money and prizes, but just like in the virtual world. And we have our own class, so you can race other members. Already, Melvin has signed up, and he's in there. So go to the Google Classroom homepage and sign up for NitroType. There's a link that you can click on. It'll take you right to it, and it'll take you right to my class that I created in NitroType. So good luck, kids. I'll see you Friday at the meeting. Have a great week. Bye.